Now, I don't want to kink shame, and trust me, I've done some crazy things in my day too. But when I watched season 3, episode 1 of The Boys, and I saw a guy that had Ant-Man style powers that shrunk down to just this big, and he rolls around some cocaine on the table, I'm like, great, sounds like a bunch of fun. And then another guy comes up, he whips his dick out, flops it onto the table, and the little character traverses inside the man's penis hole, spreads it open, goes inside like he's in a Tomb Raider video game, starts exploring, then all of a sudden he sneezes, causing himself to go back to his original size, which just explodes the other character, and now he is covered, blood, guts, probably a little bit of pre-cum, all that on there dripping off of him, and that's the way that they opened this season. And you know what? I think anyone should be able to do whatever they want as long as it's 2 consenting adults or more. If you're having an orgy, as long as everyone's down, everyone's over 18, everyone's agreeing to it, I think that's fine. But after that episode, you know what? I thought, I just don't know. I just don't know if I can continue this show. No, truthfully, I had heard that something like this happens, and I understand that it's, one, the shock factor of it to just do as much crazy shit as this show can possibly do. It's also a little bit of an in-joke because a lot of people were saying that Ant-Man could defeat Thanos if Ant-Man crawled up Thanos' asshole and then expanded to his regular size and just exploded him from the inside. And this series decided to play with that idea along with playing with cocks at the same time. Season 3 also has the most amount of cocks I've seen in the entire show. And while I was looking at all the cocks in this show, I was also wondering, has this show ever shown female nudity? I was like, is this an interesting kind of fun fact about this show that it actually shows way more male nudity than it does female nudity, which is rare, unless you're watching a specific genre thing, but which to each their own. But we did see some female nudity in Herogasm and in later episodes, so I was like, nope, they're not doing dicks only. But, we're here. But other than that, I thought season 3 was really solid all around. It's my second favorite season now. I still think season 1 is the best. I think season 1 did the best with the intro, with the premise, and just a lot of the stuff it did with the boys in season 1 and the creative ways that they would go about trying to take down these superheroes, and the finale of season 1 as well. I just really, really like season 1 the best. However, I think season 3 has a couple of the best episodes of the entire series, including Herogasm, which I will definitely get into here in a minute. That was probably the best episode of The Boys by far. Just so much shit happened. I love the way that it happened. I love the setup. I love the humor to it. I love the just offensive raunchiness of it, and I love what it meant for the characters. So I think that Herogasm was probably the best overall. Every single character had a defining moment and a defining part of their character arc. Even people like A-Train, even people like Kimiko and Frenchie, they all had their specific moments, not including the climactic battle at the end of that episode. But it leads into one of the things that was happening within the season that I was a little bit worried about, and that is our main characters, the boys, using Compound V, or a temporary version of it, to continue their fight against the superheroes and bringing down the supes. Now, I was a little bit hesitant about it because I have watched superhero shows before, cough, heroes, where they would have characters that didn't have superpowers, and then after a certain point, usually once you get to season 3, season 4, now all of a sudden you feel like you have to introduce superpowers to a bunch of characters that never had it before and never needed it before, and I feel like that is a very tricky way to go because you kind of grow to love them as the underdogs, and they technically have 2 superpowered people on their team already because they have Kimiko and they have Starlight. So you already have that sort of involvement of people with superheroes or with superpowers. So giving superpowers to Butcher and to Huey, I was a little bit hesitant about. But I gotta say that I did really enjoy the way that the boys went about doing it because there are some consequences to it. Consequence number 1 is it becomes very addicting. It is very much like a drug. You see that with Huey, Huey kind of annoyed me this season. I understand his character arc. I understand what he was going through and how, he's felt so helpless all this time. And so this gives him a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a power up, a little bit of a feeling that he can protect Starlight as opposed to Starlight continuing to protect him for all this time. You know, he wants to kind of feel like he's on even playing field with everybody, and that, you know, he's gone through all of these experiences so that he can help stand up on that level. So I understand his plight, but at the same time, his character was, like, he was kind of grating on my nerves a little bit. But it's another one of the great things about the show is because no one character is like a one-note good person or evil person. They all do really dark things, and a lot of them do really good things as well. One of my favorite things about all forms of media is when they have characters that are very nuanced, and even the most vile, vicious character in this series, like an A-Train or like a Homelander, you know, you still can see things from their perspective. It can show you things from their perspective to the point where you're like, maybe they actually kind of have a point. I don't actually agree with the things they're doing, but I can understand where they're coming from. So you see the fact is that, like, nobody is 100% evil, just most people are out for personal gain, and that personal gain can be corrupted by power. Power corrupts even further, and you know, the way that they're viewed by people, the way that they're seen by people, there's all that stuff is within the boys. But when it comes to the characters using Compound V, there is the extra consequence of it causing, like, traumatic brain damage that is starting to happen to the characters. Spoiler alert, this video is going to contain spoilers, by the way. At the end of this season, Butcher gets told he has about a year left to live. And I really like that, not because I want to see Butcher go. He's a great character. But I like the idea of there being consequences to this. I like the idea of when something really big and powerful and great happens, there's also the counterbalance and the other edge to that, the yin and the yang, you know, the equivalent exchange. I like that kind of stuff. Also, when it comes specifically with Butcher, I feel like his plot armor has gotten a little bit too strong, and I like the idea of the V having this consequence coming up in the final season, or not the final season, the next season, because here's the thing. Now we have had 3 seasons in a row of The Boys where in the season finale, Butcher is face-to-face with Homelander, and Homelander could kill him but chooses not to for some reason that is there. In the first season, it was because he wanted to torture him, so he wanted to take him and show him that his son was still alive. In the second season, it was because his son was right there in front of him and he didn't want to do it. And also because Maeve had the video footage, and she said, I'm going to release this of showing, you know, you letting everybody die in the plane crash. So, okay, so he doesn't there. In season 3, he has one moment in Herogasm where he eye beams him, and then that was going to be it. But of course, Butcher had taken the Compound V, so he's still alive, so he couldn't do it. And then in the final episode, again, it was because Ryan, the other Ryan, not myself, but the child Ryan, was there in front of him, and again, he didn't want to do it in front of his kid. So there's so many moments where they interact, and, like, you know that Homelander is so much more powerful than Butcher. It's like he has the ability to, but there's all these reasons why he doesn't. And I feel like that is, like, one of the tricky things about this show, because the show isn't afraid to kill off characters, but it's arguable that Butcher and Homelander are, like, the 2 main characters. You know, Butcher, Huey, Starlight, you know, on that side, and then I'd say, like, Homelander, pretty much him, you know, on the hero side. So they're kind of, like, untouchable, but at the same time, it's interesting seeing Butcher in all these situations, and constantly, you know, there's, like, a reason as to why Homelander doesn't kill him. So I like that there's going to start to be consequences with the Compound V. But there's so many other characters that have great arcs within the series, and it would honestly be a super long video if I wanted to talk about all of them. I love everything that was happening with Frenchie and Kimiko. I like that their relationship is expanding. I like that she, you know, has always viewed these powers as a curse. I love the little dance sequence that they had, the little musical number that was absolutely adorable. She is adorable. The actress that plays her, Karen Fukuhara, is, like, so goddamn beautiful. It's, like, ridiculous. MM also has a great sort of character arc here because he wants vengeance against this guy named Soldier Boy. And Soldier Boy is the new character that is introduced in this season, and also a new villain, new antagonist. And I really love a lot of what they did with Soldier Boy up until maybe the final episode, because he comes in and he's basically like every character in The Boys that has superheroes is pretty much modeled off of a standard superhero that we would know, but like a darker version of them. So Soldier Boy is essentially like the Captain America character. He was the first one, the original, the original kind of spokesman of Vought. He was the original Homelander. He was the one that fought in the wars back in the day, and he's the one that's like quote unquote frozen and brought back into the modern day. So he's essentially our Captain America character. And this guy, he's a prick, he's an asshole, but in a different way than Homelander. Whereas Homelander really is, he's got a ton of psychological issues, but a lot of Homelander's deal is about how he's viewed, how he's perceived, how he wants, how he kind of like gets, not literally, but like figuratively, gets power from everybody kind of rallying behind him, loving him, cheering for him, clapping for him. His image is very important to him. Whereas I feel like Soldier Boy is a lot more just, strictly about the mission. Like, this is the thing that he's going to accomplish. Now, he's full of shit because he says that he like stormed Normandy, but he didn't actually. He was just there for like the photo shoot and everything. But when he comes back, inadvertently awakened by the boys, so whoops. When he comes back, he just decides that he wants to go out for vengeance against everybody that allowed him to get captured by the Russians, who had kept him, captive for all of these decades. So he's out on a revenge mission, and Butcher decides that they're going to help him on the condition that after he's done with his revenge against everybody, that he will then go and kill Homelander. So they're basically using Soldier Boy as their weapon to kill Homelander. And I really like that, and I love that concept. And one of my favorite things in stories also is when you have like multiple antagonistic forces that are not aligned with one another. Like one of my favorite storylines of DBZ is when there's like Frieza and Vegeta and the other characters on Namek, and they're all sort of like, trading blows and trading sides. I like when there's multiple forces out there. So I like the idea that there's the Vought team, and then there's the boys, and there's Soldier Boy as well, and none of them are really aligned with each other. They're all out for their own personal missions, their personal gains, and I like that concept. And that's why I love when the episode Herogasm happens, is because it's the culmination of so many different characters and the things that they're going through. So you start out with this concept of this giant orgy that is happening called Herogasm. So you play with that concept. It's a chance to show as much nudity as possible, as much kind of crazy kinky shit with superpowers. MM gets blasted with like a cum blast, and everything. So like all this ridiculous shit is happening. But then you also have like Huey, who's in there, who doesn't know that Starlight is in there. And then you also have A-Train in there, who runs into Huey and actually like legitimately apologize, because he has his own plot going on in this whole series too, where he's trying to like get back in touch with his brother and the black neighborhoods that he comes from, and trying to like show a little bit more like loyalty to that side of himself that he had been ignoring. Basically, he's trying to find a new image and all that stuff, but it allows him to see sort of the darker side of what happens to these bystanders, including his brother. So when he runs into Huey, he kind of really does legitimately apologize, which was really interesting. And then he runs into, I forget the character's name, but like he grabs him, the one that's been like unfairly like killing a bunch of people in the black communities, and so like he grabs him and he puts him on the ground, and then he just starts running in super speed, basically dragging him behind him. It was like such a dope moment of like seeing this brutality. But then like the ironic twist is that like, he said that all these heart conditions, and so they give him a new heart, and they use the heart from the man that he killed. So it's just like this big, it's just like completely fucked up moment. But then also in Herogasm, you have this moment where Soldier Boy, he goes off and like creates this explosion. It calls Homelander there. Homelander shows up, and you basically have one of the first really big fights in the entire series, where Homelander starts fighting Soldier Boy, but then Butcher also has powers and starts fighting, and then Huey shows up with powers and starts fighting. So it's a 3-on-1 battle against Homelander, and it was dope, man. It was a little too quick, and I could tell that like the fight choreography in the show isn't great, but there was a few great moments, and it wasn't really so much about the choreography, so I give it a pass. It's a little bit more about the moment, because Homelander has never really had anybody on his level be able to fight him the way that they did, and that the fact that they ganged up on him like that, it was like completely overwhelming. I like that it showed Homelander had the ability to fight, because he did hold his own, so I like that he was kind of throwing hands with Soldier Boy and being able to actually like fight him. But it was just a matter of 3 people fighting him at the same time that was like way too overwhelming. I also liked how it showed a little bit of his style, because Homelander isn't the kind of guy that wants to fight or cares to fight. He usually likes to end his situations as quickly as possible. So I liked when he first grabbed Soldier Boy and like threw him against the wall, he just immediately tried to eye laser him, because like he's not there for the fight. He's there just to finish it as quickly as possible. He doesn't want to deal with the BS that comes with it. He doesn't want to get hurt also, you know, he doesn't want to have the bruise on his face. He even puts like makeup over it after he gets hit, you know, so it just kind of like shows you what he's trying to avoid and what he doesn't want. And so I like that basically the fight kind of showed you the type of characters that you're dealing with, whereas Soldier Boy is a lot more like old school, like hyper masculine, like just down, like gritty and dirty, doesn't give a fuck, is just gonna fight, where Homelander is a little bit more like he cares about his image, he cares about like if he gets hurt, he cares about, you know, he's a little more like, I don't know, prissy about it than Soldier Boy is. So it's a fun little dynamic between that. Then you get to the finale of the episode, and the finale I enjoyed, but there were a few things about it that I thought were a little bit underwhelming. Now, a lot of this story arc of Season 3 was also building up Starlight a lot. She was showing basically like the truth of a lot of things that were happening through social media and everything, and so she was kind of building up this reputation. And there were a lot of moments, again, that reasons why Homelander wouldn't kill her when he could kill her and that sort of thing. But then it leads up to the final episode, and you know, she has this moment where, you know, Huey accepts that he's not going to jump into the fight, and he instead like boosts up all the electricity in the room to help her so she can absorb the energy. And there's this big like moment of her absorbing all this energy, and then she shoots out a little blast at Soldier Boy, but then nothing like really happened after that. I was a little bit disappointed that like it was building her up, and then it was a little bit lackluster. And I felt like there was a lot of moments in the final episode that were like that. It was building up this revenge, you know, that had against Soldier Boy, and he had the moment where he put the mask on him, and you thought that he was going to get it, but then he doesn't. And then when Soldier Boy was going to kind of erupt and explode, Maeve, you know, jumps out the window with him, and you think it's going to be like this self-sacrificial moment where, you know, he's going to explode, she's going to take the blast, she's basically going to like redeem herself for going along with Vought and Homelander for as long as she had. You know, she had a whole arc that, like, every character had an arc, so it's like impossible to talk about them all, but she had a whole arc this season that was leading to this, and she survived, and also Soldier Boy survived. So I thought that was a little bit like a little bit of a cop-out. I don't know what they're planning for Season 4. Maybe they have a really good idea of what to do with her or what to do with Soldier Boy. But I really thought that was like, I don't know. It felt like a missed opportunity, a missed moment. It made it less impactful. It made her sacrifice not really a sacrifice. You know, she lost an eye, but not in the explosion. She lost an eye with Homelander. So I don't know, man. I was a little bit disappointed about that. Also the final fight as well, like the fight of Maeve and Homelander wasn't nearly like as epic as the fight in Herogasm, and they both have comparable powers. And I know that like the show's got to deal, I understand from an outside perspective the show has to deal within the limits of the budget it has, and so I'm not going to knock a show for low budget fights. I'm a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, for God's sakes. Like I understand what low budget fight scenes look like, so I'm not trying to like get on its case about that. But I just felt like there should have been a little bit more between that fight and the finale with Soldier Boy and with Starlight. So like a lot of good stuff was happening, but a lot of it felt a little bit lackluster, I guess, for a final episode. I also, Black Noir, like I said, there's so many characters have arcs. Black Noir, who was always one of my favorites. I love sort of like the strong, silent character. And I loved how he was like viewing things within his head of seeing these cartoon Looney Tune characters explaining his backstory, but he gets killed. I didn't mind the way that he got killed. I was very shocked by it. I wasn't expecting Homelander to be the one to kill him. I wanted to see him put up a little bit more of a fight because I really enjoyed his character, and I love how he fights with blades, and he's like very ninja-esque. Like I really enjoy that, but didn't quite get that. And with Homelander himself, now he has his kid Ryan by his side, who is actually starting to look up to him and really believe in him, which is something very dangerous that is happening here, because we're essentially getting the formation of a Homelander Jr. that can happen here. Which I've always said, and I said in my Season 2 review too, is that like I believe Homelander really, really, truly does care about his kid. Like I said, it's the nuanced character. He's not just completely 100% evil. I believe he really does care about his kid. It's just he wants his kid to be the image of him. He wants him to pick up his legacy, and he wants to make up for not having those parental figures in his own life. The same thing when it's revealed that he was made from like a DNA from Soldier Boy. He felt something about that. He's like, we have a connection here. We have a family here. There's something we could do with this. So he's always kind of looking for that mommy. He's always like drinking the milk and wanting to suck on the titties and stuff like that. He's always looking for that like parental nurturing vibe, which he never had. And so now he wants to be that parental figure. And I think he truly does. I think he truly, truly does love his kid. It's Homelander, And the final scene of the episode, which I'd seen the memes before of like him start laughing like, all right, yeah, as the crowd starts cheering. But it is kind of one of those moments where someone throws something like a bottle at his kid and hits Ryan in the face, and Homelander just instantly laser eyes the dude in front of a bunch of people, just like instinctively, and they all just like clap and rally for him. So it's this kind of like terrifying idea that if you are looking up to somebody, or you see somebody as a hero, or you view somebody on a level higher than you, they could do the most horrendous thing in the world right in front of you, and you don't even care. It's just like you look up to them, you believe in them, and in a way maybe you're fearful of them too. But I don't think that those fans are really fearful of him. I think that they truly like rally behind and truly believe in what he's doing. So that was a great ending, and I like that Homelander is becoming a little bit more gaining more agency as time goes on. I wasn't like a huge fan of him in season 1. I liked him in season 1, but I like that as time has gone on, he's felt like he could break free of people more, that he wasn't so much under people's control, and that like he can be a little bit more of himself around people, which is terrifying, right? There's a moment where they talk about releasing the plane video, and he's just like, just go ahead and do it, because you know what? Then everyone will know, and I can rule everybody by fear. So I don't give a fuck, just do it. Which was a bluff, but at the same time, there's a little bit of truth to that. There's the moment at his birthday thing where he comes out and tells everybody, I am better than you. So like he's having these moments where he's truly able to like stand on his own like he never had before. So yeah, The Boys season 3, really, really enjoyed it. Definitely my second favorite season overall. Excited for season 4 when that comes out. I don't know where it can go from here. Obviously, you got to have to deal with the Compound V issue with Butcher. You're going to have to deal with, Homelander and his son. So there's a lot of stuff. So if you guys have watched season 3, you enjoy season 3, let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. I'm fully caught up, so we can talk full spoilers, whatever you guys want to talk about with season 3, let me know. If you enjoyed this video and this review, please give it a thumbs up, because it would really help me out in the algorithm, as well as any kind of comments, interaction with the video would be very helpful. If you want to see more reviews of TV shows and movies and stuff like that, then definitely help these videos out, help them do better in the algorithm, and tell me what other shows you'd like to see me watch and review if you want to see some more. So other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. I'll talk to you next time.